Yo, JD here, and as you can see, it's been a while, but we are back on F122, and as you can see by the title of this video, we've decided to give it another chance because as much as iRacing and other games have been fantastic to play, and I will still continue to play them because they have been brilliant. Playing this F1 series for over 10 years, there's always going to be a part of me that does miss playing this franchise, no matter how frustrating it is. And please post down below what your current thoughts are of this game. If you had to maybe summarize it in one word, how would you actually describe it? Because for me, it would be the word of frustrating. And yeah, I decided to just see how it goes because especially with the F1 season coming up soon, it's always nice to play an actual F1 game when you're getting a bit more immersed into the real life. But you will see from this very first lobby, very first one I did, straight away, yeah, everyone just disconnects. So that's a great start. But now moving to the actual video itself, we managed to get the lobby reset, and yeah, that seems to be a bit of an issue, particularly on the PC side of the game, crashing quite often. But yeah, really this is just me having a bit of an introduction back into this, and like I just said a few moments ago, really want to hear your thoughts on what you've been doing. Have you still been playing F1 22? Because I have seen a lot of people, not just other content creators, but just people, drivers in general within the community, kind of express their frustration quite a bit. And I think we've done enough videos kind of criticizing the games, kind of a beating a dead horse at the moment. I think we all know what the frustrations are, but like I always say, it's the community, what the community thinks, and this is something that the gaming developers do need to listen to. It's not just Codemasters. I think there's other games out there who kind of neglect their audience. I think that it doesn't really matter so much about filling in those small details, but the small things always do add up. But I had an absolutely great time in these lobbies. Many of these drivers here are actually my members within my YouTube members or Discord. So if you'd like to join this, make sure you click the QR code or scan the QR code that comes on the screen in a second, or if you just go to the description, you will get a priority access into these lobbies. We're going down the inside of this house here, and that felt quite nice to move going to that corner. And this Alpine has a bit of a spinella, unfortunately for him, but yeah, making good progress in this race. And yeah, if you do join the YouTube membership, you will also get access to my updated setups, my league racing setups, and you will be getting a discount on one-to-one coaching with me. We're moving up into P3 here, so a pretty good start so far. Got this guy, Destroyer Sean. I think that's what his game tag is trying to say, or PSN's trying to say. He's a very, very fast driver himself, so this is actually going to be quite a good test because being a bit rusty, just been playing iRacing, playing many other racing games, and I think the biggest differences I really do feel with the handling in particular is something I've mentioned many times, is just that lack of connectivity to the car. It's really, really hard to know when you're going to lose the car on this game, I feel. It's almost like you're just relying on what you see rather than what you're actually experiencing with the force feedback that's coming through the wheel. And games such as iRacing, Assetto Corsa, which do have their pros and cons as well, that's one thing I do love about those games. And it's not just because it's a sim. It doesn't matter if it's a sim or a simcade. I think it's really important to try and have that feeling between your input device and the actual game itself. So it doesn't matter if it's not realistic at all, which we all know this game in particular isn't really. But I think just having that feeling, that sensation, just gives you so much more immersion, and it just makes it so much more engaging to play. And I really, really do hope for F1 23 when that does get released, that's something they do focus on, because I believe that is a really big fundamental part. And of course, with the bugs and glitches, that's just a whole video, and we've kind of already discussed a lot of those things. I think just get the fundamentals of the game right. Just get a stable, almost bug-free experience where you're having a good feeling between the input device and the game. That will usually take care of itself, because games like F1 2020, which weren't particularly realistic or anything at all, just the fundamentals were kind of ticks. You just had a good handling model, you had a good feeling between the wheel and the game, and even on the controller as well. You had the classic cars, so we didn't have this F1 Life or other features like the supercars, which shouldn't really be included in a game like this. You actually had things that people requested and had want. It doesn't need to be perfect, but just addressing those things just gives you so much more of a better overall experience. And the game should be getting better in many aspects, not actually digressing. So yeah, please give me your opinion. If you had to maybe sum it up in one word of F1 22, and be careful with your language, then please post it down below. But you can see here now, up into P2, behind Destroyer Sean, who's a driver I've gone against many times in the past, a very, very fast driver, so just using its ERS. But if you're new to this game, it's not really that beneficial to be sitting behind a car, because Dirty Air, although isn't really particularly strong, the ERS is just so powerful, and you really want to have that track position, and you don't really save any extra ERS too much from being the car behind, because you're about to see here with the DRS, so we're not even going to use any of the overtake button. You can see we're not really gaining that much time. We gained about just over a tenth going down that straight. So on previous games, you actually gained quite a lot more ERS when you were the car behind, which made it quite beneficial. You could be a little bit more tactical. But on this game here, since the overtake button is just so powerful and the DRS is just so unpowerful, you really need to be the car ahead. And that's why you see in F1 esports and competitive league racing that it's pretty much just a long, continuous train. And really, the qualifying is the crutch of things. You need to have a good qualifying, otherwise you are not doing well, because it's very, very hard to make up positions in a league race in this game. Not to mention that starting on the hard tyre is always the faster option, because if you start on mediums, the hards kind of cross over quite quickly, and then when you go from medium to hard in a 50% league race, the warm-up period is just so bad that the people on the hards are always going to overcut you, and then they're going to be pitting for a fresher tyre and a faster, softer compound. And yeah, it very rarely works in most cases. So I really hope they maybe tweak the balance of that. As you can see, Dirty Air is pretty much non-existent come through here. But you see, he's got the battery as well, and he's about to go underneath 10%. I think you can see his red light is going to be flashing in a second. We're going to go around the outside of him here. Let's see if he gives us room. And yes, he does give us room. So we're going to get the inside for chicane, which is normally a good place to be, but you really want to try to slow it down. So we've actually overcooked it a little bit, and he's going to go for a switch, but actually he decides to go around the outside and then go into the line. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we do a bit of a spinetta ourselves, and yeah, that was a nice introduction back into the game, but GG to him. But now we're starting at Hungary, so we've got 5 fights in. As they go out, you might have seen this if you follow me on Instagram, we had an absolutely rocket ship start coming through into here. So started at P12, going up to here, already up into P9. Want to be nice and tight here. You can see there's always chaos, particularly on the outside of the exit turn 1. And now we're going down the inside here, so up into P4. That's 8 positions in the space of 2 corners. That was a very, very nice start indeed. Giving a little bit of a weave of approval to Goxie. It's a good friend of mine. And yeah, this track, definitely if misdriving it, it always provides you some good entertainment, and a couple of these guys have spun out as well. And you will see that the curbs around here are absolutely lethal. And as I said, if you want coaching with me, make sure you go to www.coachlimitless.com or scan the QR code or link below. And I do 90-minute one-to-one sessions on every platform. But you can see, made our way up into P2, and we've got Destroy Sean, who is ahead of us again. So we're going to have to be pushing quite hard. But this is a track where you really want to be as patient as you possibly can, because you really don't want to overheat the tyres. So I think I did a video before where they did the handling update, and if your tyres overheat quite a bit, then you can lose seconds per lap. And I think my run where I had lower pressures compared to the higher pressures, over 5 laps, I was actually 10 seconds in total quicker. So that's how much of a difference it can really make. ERS isn't actually that important around here, because it's pretty much like Monaco, but with just a bit more runoff. So yeah, you really need to try and really just focus on the driving. Don't really worry about too much about a battery, and just try and keep your temperatures as cool as you possibly can. But yeah, apart from just a disconnected feeling, one of the things you'll see in a second as well is just kind of the random netcode generation. I think that's what it stands for. So RNG effect of this game. Sometimes when you're over a curb, it doesn't spit you out, it doesn't really unsettle you, but then other times it can. And I think this is an issue that quite a few people still to this day kind of do have. So it's really just a bit of a gamble at times. It doesn't feel like you can always be quite confident in where you put the car on the track. So you can see we're actually gaining a little bit here, which is good. But then as we come through to here, little wheel on this curb, and then that's it. Round you go. And yeah, it just felt like I hit a patch of ice coming around here. And don't get me wrong, in iRacing as well, when you hit certain curbs, it will spit you out, but there seems to be a lot more consistent. You know, if you go on that curb in iRacing every time at that particular angle, then it will be spitting you out. But on this game here, sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. And yeah, particularly when you're racing at that high level, it makes it a bit hard to get some confidence going, knowing where you can push or not. But we've got this guy up ahead of me called Max Verstappen, who's a regular in my lobbies, and he's a very, very good driver. Very, very fun to battle against. And this track here, I think, is one of the best for actually racing against people. So at the inside here, leaves him some room, and let's see how much more of a recovery we can make. And this is actually probably one of the most fun I've actually had so far, playing F122. So got side by side going through his right hand. He goes around the outside, so leaves some room on that outside. Does he still try to hold it around the outside here? And yeah, he still tries to hold it around the outside here. Because of where my wheel is, I couldn't actually see the car indicators. I really wish that's something you could maybe change, or maybe having another feature to see where you are, because depending on how low you sit or how high you sit, if you sit quite low like I am here, where I'm turning, the wheel is actually covering a good part of the screen. It actually makes it really difficult to see where other people actually are. You have to just completely rely on just the visuals of the screen. But you can see we're up into P7 and now trying to get our way back into this race. And I have to say, I actually had fun playing this. I think when you've been away from something for quite a while, no matter how much you maybe get frustrated or hate it at the time, there's always things that you definitely miss and maybe take for a bit of granted. And with this F1 season coming up, I will be doing a lot more open lobbies on F122 now, just really trying to get back in the swing of things. Still will be doing iRacing and other content as well, but it definitely feels quite nice to be back. And I think I definitely did need that little bit of that detox, because there was a stage, and I think a lot of people probably had this as well with whatever game they've been playing, that you just get a little bit burnt out, and it is good to sometimes just take a bit of a break to then get back fully recharged. But see, the next F here was a bit not confident on going out curb once again. So you can see we took a couple of stabs going to here. So the final lap of this race, let's see if we can maybe get a couple more cars, or maybe just at least one more car. But you can see again, ERS isn't really that important around here. You can see guy up ahead, his red light is flashing, so he's underneath 10% ERS, but as long as you don't really run out of battery, you can still gain quite a bit of speed in a straight line. So using that battery here, but this is really a corner that you can't really go side by side on. And yeah, but speaking about going inside here, but again, with the contact model in this game, as you saw at Silverstone, it's not very, what's the word to say, forgiving. Yeah, if you make a little bit of contact to someone, you touch someone's rear, then you're pretty much going to be a Beyblade on skates going around on this game. Come through to here, get really good run coming off this corner, using the ERS again, trying to force him to go down the inside, but there is no room for two cars going down there. And coming into this last corner, also got making a little bit of contact, so we're probably not going to go for this overtake now. Might be a little bit unfair. Destroyer Sean wins again, so GG to him. Trying to get connects up here, but run to the line is so short. We come home in P7 in the end, and that was my first experience back on F1 22. Thank you so much. Make sure you like the video if you're happy to see me back on this game, and I will be catching you very, very soon. Peace.